Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. We're looking at a massive shift in how we actually operate and invest in enterprise AI infrastructure. We are way past the days of just treating AI as a smooth-talking content generator, right? Today, we're zooming in on a core, concrete capability of the energetic paradigm, or EP for short. It's called feedback and correction. And as you'll see, we're going to explore exactly how this takes AI from being an unpredictable liability and turns it into a highly controlled, truly investable operating function.
So, to really get the solution, we've got to look at the root problem. Why do AI systems fix today's mistake only to turn right around and repeat it tomorrow? Just think about the sheer operational pain and, honestly, the massive cost of manual cleanup that happens when an AI makes what we call a local edit, but totally fails to learn the structural rule behind the mistake. It's kind of like having a stubborn intern who never takes notes. If a model generates a contract with a huge contradiction, and you tell it to fix that specific paragraph, sure, it obeys. But the very next day, it makes the exact same structural error on a brand new contract. That endless loop of recurring failure, it kills trust, and it absolutely skyrockets operational costs.
To see how the energetic paradigm solves this whole mess, we're going to walk through 6 key areas today. 1. The recurring AI failure. 2. EP's correction paradigm. 3. Demand traction. 4. Execution traction. 5. Scalability traction. And 6. The final investor takeaway.
All right, part 1, the recurring AI failure and the high cost of the local edit. Let's start with the expensive, frustrating reality of ordinary AI workflows in serious, high-consequence environments. This perfectly illustrates the contrast we're dealing with. Ordinary AI systems, they operate entirely on the local edit. They just, polish the text, appease your immediate prompt, and then inevitably repeat the error down the line. Trust stays incredibly low. But the energetic paradigm takes a structural approach. It is not about just making the language sound better. It's about building a permanent correction path so that the failure literally cannot happen again. So here is the crucial point for us. When AI relies on these superficial local edits in areas like enterprise strategy, contracts, governance, or compliance workflows, it generates severe business liabilities. A casual chatbot? Sure, it can get away with loose reasoning, but an enterprise pipeline absolutely cannot. If your system can't structurally learn from a failure, it creates massive operational delay, severe compliance and reputational risk, and just endless cycles of human cleanup. I mean, the output is practically useless if you have to manually babysit it every single time, right?
Moving on to part 2, the EP correction paradigm, a structured operational capability.
Now, under EP, feedback and correction is absolutely not some generic editing feature. It's not a pie-in-the-sky future proposal or a cosmetic add-on. It is a concrete, already achieved, deeply investable operating function. As this definition highlights, it takes any response, any error, any review or failure, and turns it into a structured, reusable correction process. It completely flips the script on how a task is framed before the answer is even produced, how it's checked during production, and how the output is finally judged after the fact.
Ultimately, what we're talking about here is moving from ordinary, uncontrolled generation to highly controlled, structural work. Instead of just asking, hey, does this model sound plausible? Which, let's be honest, is a trap so many teams fall into, EP demands to know if the work has the strict structure required to actually survive in a harsh enterprise environment. Can it reduce ambiguity? Does it expose the real object of the work? Can it prevent the AI from going off on tangents? That is exactly how EP engineers true reliability.
Which brings us to part 3, demand traction, and why the market desperately needs reliable outputs.
As AI makes that big jump from casual chatbots into serious, heavy-duty pipelines, market demands are shifting incredibly fast. Just look at how different stakeholders are reacting right now. Buyers are waking up and realizing they need structurally reliable work, not just persuasive text. Internal teams? They're demanding outputs that can actually survive the operational pressure and rigorous audits from decision-makers, engineers, and lawyers. And at the highest institutional level, they require methods that catch logic drift and unsupported claims way before they morph into actual business risks.
So if you're an investor or a strategist, the takeaway is crystal clear. As enterprise AI deployment goes deeper into these high-value workflows, the financial necessity for this exact function just skyrockets. The cost of uncontrolled generation isn't just a minor annoyance anymore. It's a massive operational roadblock.
The demand for NAP's feedback and correction is quite literally the demand for making AI usable in environments where mistakes cost real, serious money.
All right, part 4. Execution, traction, performing under pressure.
Claiming a function is important is one thing, right? But execution is only proven when it operates repeatedly under intense pressure inside real tasks. EP executes this by acting almost like a real-time error classification dashboard. It doesn't just rewrite a clunky sentence. Step 1, it explicitly classifies what went wrong. Step 2, it traces the actual root cause of the drift or contradiction. Step 3, it defines the structural correction. And finally, Step 4, it mandates a structural rule, a boundary, or a quality gate for the very next run. It defines exactly what the system should do, reject, and check moving forward.
And the practical outcome of that execution is immediate. When you apply this structured process, inputs are transformed into a clear, definable object of work. The reasoning paths aren't just hidden behind fluent, pretty language. They are made fully, 100% inspectable. Outputs are evaluated against strict structure, not just style. This means your proposals become clear, agreements become safer, and workflows become genuinely repeatable, all because every single failure actively improves the next execution.
Let's look at part 5, scalability traction, expanding the logic across domains.
When we examine scalability, we get to see how this correction logic expands into massive market reach without losing its core identity. Because the operating logic remains incredibly consistent, feedback and correction scales seamlessly. It isn't just some bespoke consulting trick. It can actually be converted into templates, checklists, workflow quality gates, and agent policies. It can be baked right into software modules and enterprise operating rules. This proves a huge path to productization, allowing it to support countless vertical products instead of being boxed into just one.
What you are fundamentally building here are continuous improvement loops for enterprise AI. The surface content might change, sure. You might move from document intelligence over to compliance reviews, from agent orchestration to knowledge production pipelines. But that underlying scalable loop, the one controlling the structural failure, remains exactly identical. Any domain using AI for complex work has to eventually solve this structural problem, and EIP provides the repeatable standard to do just that.
Finally, part 6, the investor takeaway, a repeatable operating component.
Ultimately, you shouldn't evaluate EP as just another content generation tool. It is a vital system of functions, firmly proven across all 3 of these traction pillars. In demand, it solves the incredibly costly failure of AI under serious deployment conditions. In execution, it actively operates and traces failures right inside real enterprise tasks. And in scalability, it turns the function into repeatable, productized operating components. It makes AI controlled, deductive, and actually operationally useful.
I'll leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. Feedback and correction is investable because it converts a recurring AI failure into a repeatable EP capability. Until you shift your mindset from valuing temporary, cosmetic text edits to demanding structured, controlled execution, your AI systems will remain a liability rather than true enterprise infrastructure. Think about how you are implementing AI today. Are you just polishing the surface, or are you actually building the structure to prevent tomorrow's failures?